All right, so this is, I don't know how much if I'm going to cover everything we did in class or just recently, but here's the cat. She will go down here. Um, and, oh, am I screen sharing? I am screen sharing. So I'm praying that you can see our campus page right now. So like I mentioned in previous videos, we're only doing two things in this class. The first thing being your poet presentation. At that point, at this point in class, like that should be done. In the event that it's not, you are making a PowerPoint about one of three poets, E. Cummings, Sonia Sanchez, Carolyn Forche, and you are just kind of filling in the blanks based off of a model presentation that I have put together for you. So let me show you here. So let's, I bet if we start here, yeah, in week 4, or let's go with week 3. So for, oh my gosh, Friday, 2/19. This is like way back here. So we have our example poet presentation. So I'm just going to open that up now just to have that ready. And honestly, that link for the example is almost on every single Canvas page. So make sure if you can't find it, it's going to be on one of the Canvas pages, as well as like the actual links to the poets you could study, right? Because I'm asking you to look at one of the three poets. Well, where can I actually find their work? And honestly, those are on most Canvas pages as well. So you'll see a Cami link. So Cami is the software we use to read PDFs. If you want to read E. Cummings, open up that link, read all his poems. Same thing with Sonia Sanchez. Same thing with Carolyn Forche. So if you haven't read a good number of poems by that poet, and it could be the ones in this PDF or just ones you find on the internet, you're like, I can't imagine trying to do this presentation without having a good understanding really who this poet is, as well as like actually just sitting down and reading some of their poems. So if you haven't done that, that's your first step. And as you're doing that, you make your own Google Slideshow and you literally just kind of fill in the blank. So like here, I tell you what to do on a slide. So you put your poet's name, you put an image of that poet, and then 2 or 3 reviews. I modeled this with a poet that you're not studying. That way we're not copying whatever. So, okay. Does it have the poet's name, an image of the poet, and 2 or 3 reviews? Yeah, there it is right there. Biography, you just answer in your own words. Where are they from? When did they do their work? What genre? What are they known for? A lot of this you'll just find on Wikipedia and then just put back in your own words. Each of the poets that you could study is really responding to like a historical moment or what we call a political moment. So E. Cummings was in World War I and lived through World War II. So you could think about that. Sonia Sanchez was part of the Black Arts Movement and lived through 1960s America, racial segregation, and continuing that struggle all the way to the present day. So you could write about anything there. Carolyn Forche writes about a couple different things. She's known as a political poet. She went and was a reporter and wrote poetry about the Salvadorian Civil War, but she also writes about poverty in America. So either of those you could choose, and I give you a template here. You kind of fill in the blank. And it goes on like this. So if you get to a section where you're confused on the instructions, let me know. At this point, like we did this months ago. So if you're just behind, let me know. The other thing what we're working on right now in class is, of course, our poetry portfolio. So to make that, you literally just make a Google Doc and share it with me. If you have poems you've written last quarter, you copy and paste those on the Google Doc. So I have the link to upload. That was week 2. That was February 8th through 12th. So if you wrote poems last quarter, here are a couple links to like go help you find those poems. And you literally just copy and paste them into the presentation, right? You've already written at least, hopefully around 3 poems last quarter. And then basically the next 4 Wednesdays after that first week, you have a different poetry assignment. So you're writing the first one of 5, I think one of 4 styles of poetry you choose. So you could write haikus or an ode or a sonnet, depending on kind of how you want to challenge yourself. Then the next week, you're writing like a genre poem, like a love poem, a fantasy poem, science fiction, horror, just kind of like what we call like genre. The next week is a like poem for somebody, like poem for my mom, poem for my dog, poem for myself, poem for my girlfriend, whatever, whoever that person is that you want to write a poem for. It could be like a letter or a poem for my future children. You can take as many creative liberties with these as you want. The 4th one is just a free choice poem, and I give you a lot of different resources for that. So those are the 4 poems that should be in your poet presentation. Again, that's just a Google Doc that you've shared with me. Make sure you label those poems so I can go back and grade those. And then you're pulling the 2 poems that you have to write for your poet presentation. So part of this presentation is you're writing 2 poems. So you'll just, after you've written those in your presentation, you'll copy and paste them back over into the document. And you should be pretty close to caught up. The thing we've been working on is, if you click on today's Canvas page, is we are choosing 3 of the poems in our poetry portfolio, and we are revising them. And what that means is we are taking the writing we've done throughout this year, and we are thinking, well, which of these poems could I see myself continue to work on? And you are applying at least 3 of these revision techniques to that poem. It could be adding more physical details, so like sight, taste, touch, hearing, smell, right? Really immerse your reader in the poem, changing a metaphor, writing it backwards, see how does that change things. Adding dialogue is always a really cool thing to do with poetry as well. So just kind of loosen don't try to protect your poems, just let them become something else. So you're going to copy and paste this whole box here into your portfolio. You're going to drop in your original poem. You're going to do 3 of these edits, and this is where you'll have your edited poem. And then you'll do just a short write-up, so something like a paragraph, talking about what you changed and what effect that had. So it's like, oh, if I wrote my poem in this style, this is how it changed. If I changed a metaphor, here's the effect I think it has. And you'll do that with 3 poems. And on Thursday, Friday, we are going to just record ourselves reading one of the poems, and that's really the quarter. So everything is due Sunday after spring break, and that's kind of it. If you have questions, though, let me know before the end of this week, because I'll be out of town for most of spring break. I think we are good to go, and I will end the video.